Your flying eggs are pretty impressive, Mr. Eggman. But let's face it, you'll never catch me.
Confidence. A fool's substitute for intelligence.
It's hard to talk about the end result of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie without addressing the disastrous reveal trailer. While it's admirable that a studio would take extra time to amend the horrific design, it's clear that wasn't the only issue the film had. Name's Dave with WatchMojo, and today we're asking the question, did they fix the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
I always want to do this. Nailed it!
And just like the first reveal trailer, we don't get a good first impression. The very first problem with this film comes barely within the 2-minute mark, as when we're introduced to Sonic and the world that anyone who's played the Genesis games will recognize, we are immediately introduced to a CGI character whose design feels completely out of place with the Sonic franchise. Over the years, Sonic has amassed a wide assortment of friends who all stick to a familiar design similar to that of the Blue Blur himself. This character I'm referring to is not consistent with that design. He feels more at place in an animated film whose characters have more realistic features. Like this one. And since the original Sonic design tried to be too realistic, this character feels like a leftover from that original nightmare that the team didn't fix.
Wait, don't hurt him! Awesome!
Still, after the prologue, we finally have the film going, albeit in the familiar premise of cartoon character in the real world, similar to that of, say, the Smurfs or Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. Though while this film does try to subvert the fish out of water trope that the other films that I mentioned have done in the past, it does retain many of its popular negative trappings, most notably the extensive product placement. And it gets really out of hand with whole brands being name dropped, forced movies and pop music references,
You're just like Vin Diesel! It's all about family, Tom.
and the exact same Fortnite reference being used twice. It all seems to come at the expense of barely any nods to Sonic lore, as the film only really seems to focus on Sonic, Eggman, his rings, Green Hill Zone, and aside from a post-credit scene, that's pretty much about it.
Oh, give me a big fat break!
What this leaves us with altogether is a film that feels like it's doing the absolute bare bones of work to do the nearly 3-decade-old Hedgehog justice, and instead fills in knowledge gaps of the franchise with, well, whatever's popular today.
Where am I? What year is it? Is The Rock president?
Though perhaps where this format hurts the Sonic movie the most is with Sonic himself. The film establishes him as a self-imposed loner who tries to make up for his lack of social coolness with witty remarks and projected caricatures. That seems to be more in line with the 1993 Adventures of Sonic cartoon, as opposed to any of the previous Sonic games. If you're expecting Sonic's too cool for school attitude, yeah, it's not here.
Let the bitches mount also Sonic. Ugh, I can't with that guy.
While I applaud the film's attempt at tackling social isolation, it's let down by some rather awkward dialogue. For Sonic himself, awkward dialogue would be understandable given his loneliness, but unfortunately this is an issue that covers nearly all of the main characters. Back in April 2019 at CinemaCon, there were actually 2 Sonic trailers that were revealed to the press behind closed doors. The second trailer was never released to the public due to the negative backlash of the first trailer. But there was one notorious exchange from that trailer that was widely reported on and caused a lot of, huh? What? In a scene between Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik and James Marsden's Tom, Carrey says, "When I was a toddler, I was already mixing formulas while you were spitting out formulas." To which Marsden's Tom replies, "I was breastfed." That exchange made it into the final product, and it's just as cringeworthy as the reports were claiming.
Why are you hiding out in my garage?
The entire military is after me.
That being said, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik is certainly one of the film's stronger aspects, with his scenery showing antics, including a very passionate dance routine that you can't help but love. But there's only so much he can do with the material that's available to him. While he seems to be having the time of his life, it's not one of his strongest performances.
I was not expecting that. But I was expecting not to expect something, so it doesn't count.
James Marsden's character Tom is set up as the lovable everyday man. While his performance is good enough, he doesn't really get a chance to stand out over Sonic, and only really seems to be here since Sonic doesn't seem to know what a map is.
A, I have no idea where I'm going. B, saltwater stings.
In fact, his motivation for helping Sonic is not only poorly conveyed, but rather creepy. The film establishes early on that for years, Sonic has been spying on Tom and his wife Maddie because he's had nothing better to do. even giving Tom the unofficial label Donut Lord because of one scene where Tom is practicing his speech in front of a donut, and a scene where he eats a donut. When Tom finds out about this revelation though, he gets over this invasion of privacy news rather quickly.
Road trip? Whoop whoop!
What am I doing?
Maddie, played by Tika Sumpter, despite getting prominent crediting, complete with her own character poster, feels underutilized. She has one key scene which only speeds up the film's story, then pretty much just tags along for the rest of the film not doing anything. It's like they ran out of material for her to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. It's no secret that video game movies seem to be cursed within Hollywood, and a large part of that is due to a lack of understanding the source material and more interested on cashing in on popular brand names. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie merely reinforces that negative perspective. It's a soulless, ad-heavy cash grab that plays it way too safe with familiar story tropes with little world building that only reinforces the problem Hollywood seems to have with understanding nostalgic IPs.
Alright, I heard you the first time, you don't have to pile it on, good grief.
Oh sure, Sonic's design was fixed, but the problems the film have run deeper than what the star character looked like. Don't forget, this studio also thought Gangsta's Paradise would be an ideal fit as trailer music for Sonic the Hedgehog because it seems to be popular in the 90s. And that, because it's popular mindset, seems to have stayed. Kids might get a blast out of the colourful main character and Jim Carrey's antics, but for longtime fans of the Sonic series, the only redeeming factor this film has is that it's far from the worst thing that's happened to Sonic.
There's a fish on my head, and clearly I'm not gonna be able to do this on my own.
Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.